Welcome to the Financial Advisor's Advisor, the podcast offering guidance and advice on all things concerning financial advisors, RIAs, and the practitioners. Brought to you by Elite Consulting Partners, it's the go-to podcast for any financial advisor in the wealth management business. Learn more and subscribe today at eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcast. And now, here's your host, Frank LaRosa.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is Frank LaRosa, the CEO of Elite Consulting Partners. And as always, I'm here with my COO, Dale Dempsey. What's up, bud?
Hey.
Thanks for joining us. If you're new to the podcast, we appreciate it. Welcome. We hope that it's all very informative for you. This is something that we've been trying to do for the last couple of months, and our goal here is really just to provide some interesting content. We never know where it's going to go because the content that we really talk about is based on our conversations with advisors like you during the course of the week on topics that are on the sort of the front and center of the people that we're working with, our clients. We don't really have any particular direction that we're headed. We just really, it's all about you. It's all about the advisor, and it's our goal to educate you and answer questions whenever they come in. For those of you that are back with us, thank you very much. Got some great feedback, awesome emails. Please keep hitting the like button, as Dale likes to say. The only favor we'll ask is if you find this information informative, or you think that somebody else might find it informative, just do us a favor and share it. We really appreciate it. This is not a podcast to sell advertising for some other broker-dealer or some other firm. It's just the two of us trying to really inform everybody in the industry about what's going on. Dale, how was your week? I was traveling a little bit this week, as some people may have known if you follow me at franklarosa.elite. I did some traveling down to Atlanta this week. It was interesting. And Dale was back here holding down the fort. Yeah, we didn't get raided. We held off all the anyone looking to do damage. But no, really, how was the trip in Atlanta? Because we didn't get a chance to really talk about this. But you were working with trip was great.
A team.
Couple
advisors down in Atlanta, and if I remember correctly, they were looking to go independent. Well,
that was interesting.
I like to say,
yeah. So for everyone listening, so where we thought we'd go with this today is just really a conversation about what's been going on. We've had a bunch of podcasts that are all about branding and name and building out your own office and the mailbox and all that stuff. But one of the things that we really sort of skipped over is this whole idea of even going independent, right? And what kinds of people do that? Is it right for you? Is it not right for you? And this sort of came up because, as Dale was saying, I went down to Atlanta to meet with some clients, as I frequently do, travel meeting with our clients. It just helps us really get to know you better and really understand your practice almost as well as you would know your practice, so we can help guide you in the right direction. What was interesting is that this week alone, I came across like 3 different types of advisors that were all talking about independence in a different way. And so one team that we met with down there, wirehouse advisors that were looking to go independent. One of these things that they never really thought that they would do. They toyed with the idea, and they're like almost rolling faster than I can move with them, because once they started to understand it and the benefits of it, they're totally excited about it, which is exciting for us.
So the benefits, I wrote down 5 things, but I'm just curious off the top of your head, what were the benefits?
Yeah,
maybe like the top 3.
Yeah, so for the benefits for them, it was really taking, for this particular group, again, it's different for everybody,
sure,
right? But
sure.
For this particular group, it was really taking control of where their money was being spent. When I was in the wirehouse world, we used to say, where's your 60 cents going?
Okay.
And the whole point of that was, if you're getting a 40% payout and the company's keeping 60 cents, what are you getting for it? And in this particular instance, they really just felt like they weren't getting anything for the money that the firm was taking to pay for events and different things that really their clients weren't going to be even invited to, right? So that was one driver, and just sort of frustrated them. The second driver for them was really being in an environment that they wanted to create their own environment, right? Their own service model. And although they could do that in a wirehouse, they really felt like they couldn't make it their own in the office that they were in terms of design and with a feel for when the clients walk in the door, and then the third piece of it was their ability to acquire other practices, acquire other producers as they grow. And even though their manager would say, "Oh, we can go recruit people," you can't. There's so many more independent advisors and RIAs and smaller RIAs out there that it's just they're swimming in such a small pond that by going independent, they are able to, and they see now they're able to really swim in a much bigger pond. And then the last one, which is really 4, I know you asked me for 3, but I'm going to give you a 4th, was their overall branding of their business. And as everybody, if you're listening to this and you're at a wirehouse, you know that there's pretty tight restrictions and limitations on what you can call your practice. It's got to be whatever, blah, 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 at Morgan Stanley or at Merrill Lynch or whatever. When you're independent and what I call when you're in private practice, just like a doctor or a lawyer, you're in private practice. You're in the real world. So you can name your business whatever you want to name it. And so for them, they felt like we can really brand ourselves because they're known in the marketplace, and they wanted to sort of really take advantage of that. One of the things that we do is we actually toured some space, really some interesting space, which is another interesting topic. When you go independent, do you just go out and lease space, take down space and buy furniture and all this stuff,
or buy a building?
Buy a building. We have one client that's doing that right now, right?
Right.
Good for him.
Yeah.
In this particular instance, there's some really interesting space down in the Atlanta marketplace that are sort of executive suite space. And for those of you that don't know what executive suite space is, and it's sort of like WeWorks, but it's open areas where you have your own office, smaller than the norm, but there's a receptionist, and there's they answer your phones, and there's like a kitchenette areas, and really cool space where you're paying a little bit more in rent, but you're not covering utilities and all the other things. So it's an interesting way, if you're thinking about going independent, to break away and stay in some space before you really know where you want to plant where your flag is. Sort of like renting a home before you buy, right? You move into a town, better off renting for a year until you figure out where you really want to live.
When you say open layout, was it they have to put up glass walls and
no open layout? So they have
built?
their own internal office, right?
Okay.
So you can put 2 or 3 people in an office,
okay,
like a group, almost like a trading desk type environment, right? But then they have these areas throughout the office layout that are couches and chairs and little nooks that the company built out, so that if you meeting with a client and you don't want to meet in your small office, you go take a space in the corner. You sit on a couch. There's a cafe area. There are smaller conference rooms that you can use as long as you know ahead of time your client's coming in, where you can use that conference room.
So in this particular instance, it's already built out.
It's already built out.
One of the things they're looking. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, that was the first one. Wirehouse
to wirehouse to independent,
to private, right?
Which typically, we call that like a breakaway, right? They're breaking away.
Right.
The interesting thing about this particular visit down to the Atlanta marketplace is I also met with an independent advisor swimming upstream, or who wants to swim upstream. What I mean by swim upstream is going from an independent location to a W-2 retail office. And the thought process there for him, and this is one of the things we talk about scale, is because of the size of his production and the cost of his overhead, which also includes the health insurance costs, it really sort of the break even between what he would get at I'll call it a regional firm, and what he's netting at his independent firm is only, like 5 percentage points. So he's looking at this like at his age, hit the bid a little bit, right? Get paid to move to a new firm upstream, and instead of getting 50% net payout, he's getting 45% net payout. But he's got the cash from the move to offset the difference. That was his mindset because of his particular situation. And I think that's one of the things that everyone needs to think about is what is your particular situation? And I'll get into the third one. But for him, it was an economic thing. But we're not done yet. One of the things that we're also getting into, again, which we sort of, because I was able to meet with him and really understand his practice, is we're delving into, with his CPA, because I'm not a CPA, but we're delving into the net difference after taxes with all of his write-offs, W-2 and 1099. Because although he might think the gap is not that big, after he does all of his deductions from some of the things that he is able to deduct through his S-Corp that he has, the gap might even be bigger. And what I don't want him to do as my client is make that move without doing that analysis and realize it ended up hurting him. Because even though he got money up front, maybe the break even on that money was only 4 years.
Is he late? Is he late stage in his career?
Nah, I would say he's not really. I mean, he's 50-ish, right?
Okay.
I wouldn't call that late stage. I mean, geez, I'm almost 50, so I'm not going to call that late stage.
Right.
He's a young buck.
Well, that's not late stage.
It's not late stage, and so
a lot of you folks out there work into your 80s.
That's the beauty of this business.
It's actually, quite common.
All right, that's the beauty of this business. And so, for him, there was a succession or really a catastrophic planning issue, which we talked about on one of our podcasts. He didn't really have anything like that.
Right.
So
he shores up the continuity. He shores up the potentially. It's maybe it's a lifestyle thing,
right?
Almost, right? And then the economics,
right?
Okay,
right. So that was an interesting one, right? Because that doesn't happen that often. And then the third one happened to be someone that I sort of just ran into, wirehouse individual, and we were talking about that, and he made the comment about, although he understands how the economics work, for him, independence is just not for him, right? And I admire him for that because he knows who he is and he knows who he isn't. And it's interesting because I'll call it in his personal life, but his personal business life, he's a risk taker. Not a risk taker, but he's an investor. He's got some real estate. He does other things that are very entrepreneurial. Yet in his wealth management professional life, he doesn't want to take that kind of risk. And he doesn't mind knowing that he's leaving some money on the table annually. He doesn't mind giving some of that up because he also knows that if he makes a move to another wire type regional firm, he's going to get a big check, and he knows how the math works, and because he's done it a couple times.
But that's what makes him happy,
right?
So he's not the type of person to desire all the things that come with going into a private practice, right? Making your own decisions, running a P&L, but always thinking about that in the back of your head. Right? There's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And he knows how to run a P&L. I mean, his partner, they run multiple, I'll call it a multi, real estate investment portfolio where they have multiple rentals. So they're running P&Ls. They know how to do it. His partner's like a spreadsheet king. It's just not something they want to do retail. And I think it's important to talk about because so many people, all they want to talk about is why everyone should go independent, which is true. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why everyone should go independent. But I think it's misguided advice if someone's telling you to go independent without really understanding who you are and your business. Because that could be really bad advice for you. Because if you're in a retail environment, you're what I call a practitioner. And although I know you might feel like you're running a business, you're not running the business. When you have to decide to buy furniture and that furniture cost comes out of your checking account, all of those things, then you're running a business. But when you just run down to your manager's office and say you need a new desk and it just shows up 2 months later, that's not the same thing. So what I call that as a practitioner. And I have seen situations where practitioners who were not ready to go independent and implode. And I just feel like people are out there just pushing the independent thing. And I just don't think it's right for a lot of people.
Well, it's not right for everybody.
No, it's not.
But you do see a lot of people doing it. There's something to the fact that it's become easier to break away. At the same time, we do run into folks who are not regrettably, but it's just the wrong direction. They've
Right.
gone in your example, spot on.
Right, because they don't realize that they have to cover health insurance, and there's ways around those things, but they don't.
It's like trading stocks versus trading with a paper account, a fake account.
Right.
Because now you have a position. Now you have to actually look maybe a year out into the future with your business as a business instead of,
There's
rent's
less-
going to be covered.
Right.
where
There's less risk. Right.
There's less risk.
I told this
Short-term risk.
I told this one team, the one team that wants to go independent, they made a comment about not necessarily wanting to work more, and I said you'll actually work more, but it's different because it's yours, right? You'll want to work more because the hours that you're putting in, even though you're building your own practice and you're in a W-2 environment, it's different. You're adding real value by growing your business, and you get excited, and candidly, they're already like texting me and emailing me that they've already come up with and developed their name and their image and their logo, and they're not even ready to leave yet, but they've sort of gotten the itch, right? They've recognized it, and we see this a lot where once you learn, you get really excited because it's an exciting thing to do. It's really exciting to run the business, and I just thought this was like a perfect time, really, just to cover this in general. I know, sort of maybe all over the place, but it was just an interesting week for me because I talked to, within a few days, like 3 different versions of an advisor where the topic of independence came up. And I just, if you're listening and you're thinking about, is this right for me? Everyone's doing it. All these people in my office are going independent. Maybe I should be doing that. What I would tell you is maybe you should and maybe you shouldn't. But you got to explore candidly with a consultant. Give us a call, 856-316-4651.
4653.
Well, that's Dale's number. So you want to call me, 4651. But you can call Dale too. I'll end up picking up the phone, taking over the account. But what I would say is, and you're gonna talk to your buddy that went independent, and he's gonna tell you it's awesome, right? Because that's what he believes. But it might be awesome for him for different reasons, and so you want to make sure that you know what your reasons are and whether or not a move is going to achieve your goals. So with that said, we appreciate you joining us. Don't forget to go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to your podcasts. Hit the like button. Leave us some comments. Give us that 5-star rating, and share it with your friends. And look forward to talking to you next time. Take it easy.
Adios.
Love you.
You've been listening to the Financial Advisors Advisor Podcast, brought to you by Elite Consulting Partners, the leading experts in advisor transitions, succession planning, and broker-dealer and RIA M&A consulting. If you're looking for strategic advice or solutions on any of those topics within the financial services industry, or you just want to subscribe to the podcast, head on over to EliteConsultingPartners.com.